It's Sunday afternoon, and July 20th, somewhere around there. Anyway, this is Grandpa Jim Grandpa Jim Weir, at the beginning of Grandpa Jim Biss. And here's the water coming by natural drain. I could plug these, and if I had nothing better to do, this would be a good time actually to plug these various leaks and get that biss back in operation. But it would deliver so little water right now that I think my time is better spent up above, which I'll show you. But I may come, well, I certainly will come back here at a certain point and work on this place. But anyway, if my animals were up here, my goats or my pigs, here they would have water to drink. So the water is reaching as far as Grandpa Jim Weir on this. I wish I could say the date exactly, but it's more than halfway through July. I'm going to go on up to the new biss. Here's the new biss, and this is the prise d'eau, the water trap, the weir, where I start to run the water on a contour. Now there is so little water here that although my impervious length of pallet wrap is carrying the water, most of it's spilling out. But so I probably won't work very much here. But I'm going to go up even just a little further and start a newer biss. This is the new biss. I'm going to start a newer biss. I'll experiment here a little bit first. Nope, I can't do very much to keep the water on a contour. A little bit, I can do a little bit, but there's just such a little flow that a place like that is probably leaking enough that it goes through. But let's see what we get up about 20 feet. That's where I was. And here you can see there really is a very small flow coming down the natural drain right now. There's a bridge that my sister's son's friends and others rebuilt it, that I had built before, and they did a good job. I might go up and show you what they did. But anyway, that's very close to the property line, so without asking any permission or anything, I could start a prise d'eau somewhere right over in there. Is a big rebar driven in the ground that marks the corner. So I could start and maybe I will start a prise d'eau right here. I might, but you see, it would be so hard to get up out of the natural drain. It'd be fun, but it would be hard. But I think I'll start at that next. Now it's interesting. I see they used the plastic, the fiberglass beams I had, at least the one, when I built this with my brother-in-law. But they replaced the plastic that I had, or fiberglass, that I had gotten for nothing. And they replaced it with a lot of pressure-treated, I call it poisoned wood. I wouldn't use that stuff myself, but they did a good job. They made it strong, and they don't have the same compulsion about using it that I do. But you can see there's not really very much of a flow here at all, but enough that I'm going to pick a spot and see if I can start a biss that I'm going to call the newer biss. Okay, what interests me about this spot is that if I build up a little bit of a dam here, I can probably get into that skidder track that was used when they were logging. And that skidder track would carry water, as I recall it did in the past, for quite a ways out there. So I might get a bunch of this biss for free if I can make a reasonable reasonably watertight weir right here. So I'm going to start. I've laid some stone. I took stone out of there and laid it to the right. I haven't really dammed anything up yet. But I did want to say that there's a term that's pretty well known on the internet now called leaky weirs. Leaky weirs. Well, I don't want this weir to be leaky. I think it's interesting that people caught on to that idea, and I think all over Britain, for example, people are going into the woods making leaky weirs by throwing a bunch of brush in a creek like that happens naturally, and enhancing it and then calling it a leaky weir. Well, better is to make a weir that doesn't leak and then carry the water from that to a biss or a zanja and let the water out wherever you want. Well, I've got that impervious pallet wrap. I brought some up. I'm going to lay some down here and then go on fooling around and see what it looks like. It'll probably take 2 or 3 layers to get that water high enough out of the natural drain to get into that skidder erosion track. That's a single wrap, or a bunch of wrappings of a pallet with pallet wrap. They put pallets on a turntable, and the turntable spins, and they wrap it like this so that the dust and stuff doesn't fly on the road when it's trucked. I guess that's it. Well, anyway, I get them to save them for me, and that's a nice size one to start with here. Now, it's not holding any water because there's no water on top of it, but it will be impervious. So now I'm going to see if I can get some water on that. Well, you can see that it's working. I mean, it's I'll certainly have to get it higher before it'll make its way along that rut. But it's working. So little water. I think I'm going to go up by the bridge just to make a statement to show where the first, on this property, where the very first biss could start from this natural drain anyway. I've got plastic here, pallet wrap. I'll lay a piece down, and people that go by will look and wonder, what the heck's that? And that'll give us a little bit more time. I'd like to point out that a caveman, if you will, prehistoric, could do the same thing with an animal skin. And no doubt did. And no doubt did. The only tool I had here was a hoe, which I didn't use very much. If I had a shovel, I could make that seal up there a little bit better. But it was enough. I got it onto the impervious layer. And, you know, I'll just let it run down it. But if I raise this up, I don't know if you can see that. If I raise this up, you could see I could gradually keep that water on a contour, on a level plane, which is just what I intend to do. That's what bisses nearly do. I mean, zanjas de infiltración do that, but bisses carry the water to a place. So that'll give people something to think about that walk by here. Now let's take a look at my newer biss. Oh, it's leaking. Haha. or not bis prise d'eau. It's leaking right there. Good. Well, that's easy enough to fix. I'll just raise this up a little bit and put a rock under there so it's higher. Now I'll wait for it to leak some other place. And now we'll go down and take a look at the new biss where I started. No obvious leaks, but there's so little water available. Plus I just started to save water, hold it back up above. These 3 prise d'eau will end up working together. And the beneficiary, the biggest beneficiary, will be the one furthest down, probably this one. Well, that'll be enough for now. It was a fun Sunday outing. I'll be back soon, probably.